Wednesday, March 9th, I will call the Minnesota Senate Property Tax Committee to order. We have a quorum with our arrival of our third member. Again, Senator Klein renews his motion to introduce Senate File 3196. And we have the author's amendment, and is that been handed out? Okay, in the packets. And so Senator Klein moves the amendment, and with that, everyone, all those in favor of the author's amendment, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. With that, Senator Rarick, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members. This is a bill that was brought forward to me by one of my local VFW posts and is looking for tax exemption for property that they own, that they have their clubhouses on. And I think many of us over the years have seen the things that VFWs and their members have done in our communities. But little by little, their members are getting older and they're unable to do as much. And this is one of the bills that they have to pay that we could do our part to help alleviate. I have spoken with folks from the counties. I know property tax exemptions can be an issue there. It just spreads taxes out to other folks. So I'm definitely open to working with them and the committee if tax credits might be an option to look at. If we're going to move forward with this, we'll look at options, but I think helping out our VFW clubs, especially in our small towns, could be very beneficial. And with that, I would turn it over to my testifier.
Very good. Thank you, Senator. With that, Stephen Fluck from the Carlton VFW is online. And Mr. Fluck, you may proceed when you are ready. And please identify yourself for the record.
My name is Steve Fluke. I'm the quartermaster for Post 2962 in Carlton, Minnesota.
Welcome.
Okay, I guess I've sent some correspondence in. We do a lot of community stuff. Over our last Christmas auction, what used to be an auction was kind of a fundraiser now. We handed out quite a bit of money to, we did it to the Mathews up here. We sent money to Silver Bay. We sent money to a couple nursing homes. And I think all total, it was right around $4,000 or $5,000. We've sent money to the girls basketball team in Carlton here. That was $1,000. We supported the hockey shelter in Carlton. And of course, we do numerous things with Boy Scouts yet. We still have a working honor guard to give final rights to passing veterans, and that keeps us awful busy too. Which there is an expense there in uniforms, guns, and the cleaning of guns. This is a pretty big bill for us. It's like over $9,000 or right around $9,000 a year for taxes on our building. And that would really help a lot if we could get that reduced or get exempted. Any questions?
Very good. Members, any questions? Senator Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Rarick, for bringing the bill. Thank you to the testifier. I appreciate the good work that is being done by the VFWs in all of our communities. Of course, the revenue, as you mentioned, the revenue note shows us impact to the state is zero because the property taxes would be shifted onto other property owners within the counties. But I guess revenue has informed us that the total value of the property that'd be exempted under this would be $23.5 million. So if we did do some sort of hold harmless or something, that would sort of be the cost of doing that. Did you get a sense when you talk to the counties, if there are particular counties that would be disproportionately impacted by this? Or are there certain counties that would really feel the pain for this significantly in terms of shifts and so forth? Or
Senator Rarick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Senator Klein. We didn't get into big details throughout the whole state, but we did talk about Carlton County in specific, and it would be about a 6% impact, if I recall the number right. So we know it's a big number, especially for some of our more rural, less, property valued counties. So I'm definitely sensitive to that and am open to, options as to how this would be done instead of shifting, to other property owners who are probably already pretty tight as well. So I think it's definitely something we can continue to talk about and work on if we're hoping to get this done and make it work right.
Senator Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Senator Rarick. Yeah, I think the project itself is certainly valuable and helpful, and we should try to do it right. It would be helpful, I think, I assume we're going to lay this over, and be helpful to learn if there's, maybe a top 5 counties that are really disproportionately impacted by this, and others that maybe are less so, because I think doing a total hold harmless at the $23.5 million cost would be significant, but something less than that might be useful. So.
Senator Jazinski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Senator Rarick for bringing this bill forward. I think it's a good bill. When I was the mayor of Faribault, I know the VFW was struggling financially, and obviously given the COVID and all those things happening and the increased costs in heating costs and electrical costs recently, I think it's a good thing for these VFWs. Again, I know they have pretty much of a shoestring budget to get by, so I think it's a great thing that we can do for our veterans. I know it's been a declining population VFW, so it's been difficult on them. So thank you, Senator Rarick. I think it's a great bill, and I'll support it.
Senator Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just the opportunity to correct something I said earlier. I said that the cost of the lost taxes would be $23.5 million. That's not accurate. That's the valuation of the properties that are exempt from the tax, so the tax value would be less than it. So.
Correct. Any other further questions or comments? If not, Mr. Fluke, thank you for your testimony. I would point to a bill in our file from a John Johnson from Carlton, Minnesota, regarding this issue as well. And Senator Rarick, any final comments?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. And, I appreciate the committee looking at this and considering it. I grew up, my dad was very active, still is active in the Pine City VFW. They would do 2 bingos a week. They sell beer at the county fair, but as we said, with their membership getting older and dwindling, they don't do the bingos anymore. They've really reduced their role at the county fair. And they do, what they give to is local scholarships for our high school kids. They give to the Boy Scouts, they give to the Girl Scouts. Everything they get and that they bring in goes back out to the community. And if we can reduce one of their bills, that's more of what they bring in through their programs to go back out to the community. So I appreciate the consideration.
Thank you, Senator Rarick. Senate File 3196 will be laid over for possible inclusion as amended. With that, we will turn to Senate File 3069. Welcome, Senator Mathews. I believe you
Thank you,
have
Mr.
an
Chair.
amendment as well.
Mr. Chair, that's correct. There's an A1 amendment.
Okay. With that, Senator Jazinski moves 3069 and also will move the author's amendment. It's just a date change there in the amendment. All those in favor of the author's amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. Senator Mathews, to your bill as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, committee members. Senate File 3069 is a bill to help reimburse tax jurisdictions in Mille Lacs County for lost property revenue due to placement of properties in the county into trust by the United States Department of the Interior Bureau of Indian Affairs. This is a needed help to help the county with some stability of their tax revenues. And I have here, Mr. Chair, a couple of testifiers from Mille Lacs County that can help speak to this. I believe first up is going to be the chairman of our board, County Commissioner Jenny Reynolds.
Commissioner Reynolds, welcome to the committee. Please identify yourself for the record and you may proceed when you're ready.
Thank you. My name is Jenny Reynolds, County Commissioner from Mille Lacs County, District 1. And the point of this is that our residents are shouldering a huge burden for the high taxes. Mille Lacs County has been in the top 5 for the counties in the state for property taxes. Our townships and cities are actually also being affected by this. We have state land that we do get PILT funding for. And that's about 2 townships worth. Lacs County also has our recreational lake, which is a big portion of our county. And then, of course, we have the trust lands where we collect no taxes at all. In the past, we have collected some of the casino tax because we do have a casino up around the lake that the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe run. In 2019, we got about $85,000 for their casino tax. But the past 2 years, 2020 and 2021, we split that with Pine County and are only receiving about $34,000. So we're not getting much relief on that. That's the portion that I wanted to talk to, and I can hold for some questions.
Thank you, Commissioner. We also have from Mille Lacs County, Dylan Hayes. I think we'll let the county coordinator, and we'll let Coordinator Hayes speak, and then we will proceed with any questions at that point. Mr. Hayes. Welcome to the committee. Proceed when you're ready.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members. My name is Dylan Hayes. I'm the Mille Lacs County Coordinator. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this bill this morning. We feel this is very important for Mille Lacs County and all the other taxing jurisdictions located within the county. As Commissioner Reynolds mentioned, revenues have been decreasing, not only from the loss in tax base associated with these parcels being placed in trust, but also the reductions in Indian casino aid. Since 2009, there have been approximately 55 parcels placed in trust in Mille Lacs County alone. These parcels account for more than $12 million in market value, and that's using today's numbers. This is approximately 1.3% of the county's tax base, which is a large number, but it's even more dramatic for some of our local taxing jurisdictions. Mathews Township, for instance, where most of these parcels are located in the northwest corner of Mille Lacs County, has seen around 20% of their tax capacity eroded from the loss of these parcels. While we're losing that tax capacity, we still have to provide the same level of service. We still have to plow roads. We still have to maintain roads. We still have to provide social services and all the other things that counties are obligated to do. What this means then is that loss in tax capacity is passed on to the other residents of Mille Lacs County outside of the reservation, outside of that area on the north end of the county, placing an undue burden on all those folks elsewhere. As Commissioner Reynolds noted, we've been in the top 5, often the top 3 county in the state in terms of our tax rate. We're often pushing 75 or 80% tax rate, which is nearly double the state average for last year. So, this is a very important issue for us, and I think very important for the residents of Mille Lacs County to help alleviate that burden that's placed on them. And with that, I'll hold for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Members, any questions at this point? Mr. Sylvia, would you give us a bit of history as to how the historical treatment by the state of these situations?
Mr. Chair and members, for purposes of property taxation, if the land itself is owned by the tribe, but the land is not placed into federal trust, then the land would be taxable. When land is placed into federal trust, it would be exempt from taxation, both at the state, local level, at the state level. To my knowledge, there hasn't been any similar legislation enacted that would provide any reimbursement to taxing jurisdictions throughout the state for land that has been placed into federal trust. As the testifiers indicated, for land that has been placed into trust, it would be taken off the tax rolls And ultimately that tax capacity would be lost and would be shifted onto other properties in the jurisdiction.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Questions, members? I don't see any at this point. Senator Mathews, final comment.
Mr. Chair, just to reemphasize again, this is an important issue for the county. I appreciate you and your committee's consideration of this bill and would ask for your support down the road as you make final decisions with your bill.
Very good. Thank you very much, Senator. This bill as amended will be, Senate File 3069 as amended will be laid over. Next, we're going to go to my bill. I will head to the table. Senator Chamberlain, you. Okay, okay. Yeah.
Good morning. Good. Senator Weber.
I don't know which one of us have that effect, Senator Chamberlain, but.
Okay, I'll be on time next time. All right. Okay, Senator Weber, you have Senate File 3467.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move Senate File 3467. Essentially, what this bill does is it deals with the issue of energy storage systems. Energy storage systems are basically a battery system for electricity is relatively new technology in Minnesota. It has certainly a large purpose as it deals with renewables, but actually could also be of importance to existing generation plants that maybe are undersized or need to store additional power for future purposes, even certain times when their system goes down, transmission lines go down, it doesn't really matter where the power comes from at that point. But it is certainly a new technology and as it started out, there wasn't really much of a property tax implication. However, in the last couple of years, there has been a substantial value placed on these systems. And to the point where, quite frankly, had that been known at the time the systems were put in place, there's a chance they might not be there today. And I have individuals with me today who will testify more completely on that. I will allow them to introduce themselves, Mr. Chairman, and turn the testifiers table over to them.
Thank you, Senator Weber. So who would like to, whoever wants to go first, and then please introduce yourself and who you're with for the record. Thank you.
Mr. Chair and members of the committee, good morning. I'm Greg Ritterbush, President and CEO of Connexus Energy, Minnesota's largest member-owned utility serving over 141,000 accounts. I'm joined this morning on the opposite side of the table here by Jan Paul Martinez, our CFO. We have 1,000 square mile service area immediately north of the cities. It includes portions of 8 counties, 12 state senators, and 20 representatives serve constituents who are Connexus members. And Senator Chamberlain, thank you for serving 8,800 of Connexus members in your district. Today, I speak in support of Senate File 3467 because it's in the interest of Minnesota taxpayers, all of whom value affordable and reliable electricity. It's because counties, cities, towns stand to benefit from the economic and continued resilience of a strong electric grid. And because the grid is changing, it's evolving, it needs the tools enabled by economics and tax rules understood by the electric utilities. By Connexus example, let me briefly place the value of electric storage in context. Including 2022, we have served members which includes counties, cities, businesses, schools for 5 consecutive years with no rate increase, while nationally benchmarking in the best 3% of utilities from an electric reliability standpoint. Long run, this stems from being hypersensitive to cost, scale, and we have great employees. But today, there's economic challenges that we're all facing. There's no doubt. And Connexus has to reach deeper, and we have been. Among many initiatives, we have built and have operated since 2019 facility that Senator Weber referenced. It's a large solar and battery facility in the upper Midwest. We have partners for both the solar technology and the battery technology, and we have offset millions of costs from our wholesale power purchases. So by experience, we use battery storage. There's very few of these around. We deeply understand the economics of battery storage, and our business model directs the benefits as a cooperative to our owners, who are the consumers of electricity. And moreover, the benefits from these technologies as they're finding their way in the grid benefit all Minnesotans. So I had the honor last week of testifying at the House Energy and Climate Committee on battery storage. My theme there was the following: that batteries should be looked at as a strategic tool. They're akin to a Swiss Army knife, if you let me use that analogy, because they have many tools and uses, not just the one primary blade. Battery use itself is very nascent today. There's very few of them on the Minnesota grid. Its capital costs continue to be high while they're dropping. They challenge business case economics. It has application risk. It's new. The grid has been in evolution for almost 100 years. Any new thing on it, we put a lot of caution flags on to make sure that we don't put any resiliency risk on us consumers at all. But while we're working on that and using this new tool, it need not also have risk as to the property tax treatment. It needs to be defined. So with earlier generation technologies like gas, hydro, wind, solar, the DOR has had the benefit of clear legislative direction. Nationwide, what's happening? Nationwide energy storage is being recognized as a rapidly emerging and needed class of grid solutions. 12 states have already enacted statutes with enabling tax treatment to encourage it to be built into the grid, 10 of which are 100% exemption. And they include among them Arizona, Florida, South Carolina, Michigan, and Texas. So this morning, this is about clarity of policy and enabling economics to benefit all Minnesota electric consumers as our grid utilities and operators implement these tools. We know the grid's changing. We are on the leading curve of that, and we need these tools to modernize the grid. So with clarity of purpose, I encourage your support of Senate File 3467. Thank you.
Thank you, Ritterbusch.
Yes.
Mr. Ritterbusch. So next up, welcome to committee. Please state your name and who you're with for the record. You may begin. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Jean Paul Martinez. I'm the CFO at Connexus Energy, here to answer any questions that you might have.
That was brief. Wow. Okay, welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I'm Mike Ball. I'm the Director of Policy and Regulatory Affairs at the Minnesota Rural Electric Association. As you know, MREA is the statewide association representing the interests of all 50 of Minnesota's nonprofit rural electric cooperatives around the state, which are owned by their members, governed by their members, and operate solely for the benefit of their members. I appreciate the opportunity to provide brief testimony this morning to you in support of Senator Weber's bill, Senate File 3467. Energy storage is a growing issue for Minnesota's electric cooperatives. Co-ops all over the state are deploying or planning to deploy, considering deployment of energy storage at various points on their distribution systems, learning from experience and from each other, cooperation among cooperatives, how energy storage can benefit their membership. My Energy in the Southeast, Lake Region Electric in the Northwest, Connexus and GRE here in the center part of the state are all examples of co-ops that are currently doing battery storage projects and pilots, excuse me, and others are working on this nascent technology. As you heard from Mr. Ritterbush, electric cooperatives in the state are doing these projects as part of a clean energy transition where and when the potential benefits to co-op members can be clearly defined. As the operation and economics of distributed energy storage continue to improve, you can be assured that Minnesota's electric cooperatives will expand the deployment of these systems, and this legislation will help encourage those further installations by helping to manage the economic risks of battery deployment and reduce costs to electric cooperative members in the state. And as you know, it's all about the membership. We urge the committee's support for Senate File 3467. Thank Senator Weber for bringing this forward and for your attention this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Bull. Senator Jasinski, you had a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I'm going to direct this one to Senator Weber, the appraiser in the group over there. So you talk about the valuation of these facilities. Is it the value of the land, the improvements? What makes these be valued so high, or is it?
Senator Weber?
At this point, Mr. Chairman and Senator Jasinski, the value of the land is typically in these situations going to be valued as commercial industrial land based on the other land around it. As it relates to the facilities themselves, I would assume that these, just like any other electrical system, a pipeline system, is basically valued by the state of Minnesota under Rule 8100. Those values are then sent to the county upon which they apply their tax rates and what have you. As an appraiser, I will say that I have never ever appraised any property like this. I may appraise the land underneath it, but never the property itself. I think that there may be some question out there in terms of the company's thought about what those values are. That maybe there needs to be a discussion with the Department of Revenue concerning those values. But I think I'd like to turn it over to the company and let them share with you these two sites, for example, what they are actually paying in terms of property tax.
Thank you.
Whoever wants to go ahead.
I can address that question. Thank you.
It's Mr. Martinez, right?
Yes, Mrs. Martinez. So in the latest valuation from the Department of Revenue regarding these energy storage facilities, the value which we understand as $19.5 million, the value tax, it's approximately $350,000. So these are energy storage systems located in two counties, Anoka County and Exempting County. The largest of which is in Exempting County. So there's three systems in two locations. So one location has two systems. So the valuation is 19.5 million, which our position has been that is an incorrect valuation. But that's the value by which the Department of Revenue has it in the latest valuation 2022.
Thank you. Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just to follow up or a clarification. So the Department of Revenue is actually the one that is valuing these. It's not the local assessors. So it's coming from the state saying this is what it needs to be valued.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions, members? Well, this would make it easy, right? Then we wouldn't have all the hassles, and we should have a note on this, how much money would be saved in court costs and time doing the appeals, perhaps. So Senator Weber, any final comments, questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would simply mention that, it's not nearly as the largest scale, but it would be similar to the issue that we had with the pipeline correction we made during special session last year, whereby the state, I think it was $29 million, had to come up with in order to compensate local units of government for the refunds that the courts dictated in that scenario. There is a process by which, as most of you are aware, that there is an evaluation of Rule 8100. We had a preliminary report here a couple of weeks ago. They will continue to seek stakeholder input and come back to us with additional information. I do want to thank you for listening to this presentation. Like I said, being an emerging technology, I think the state has oftentimes provided some tax remediation for that type of technology until it's up, until it's common, and until it develops a point where it serves a larger good in terms of just their own. And we know that it's being worked on by a number of our utilities at this point. And, you know, and I would mention, for the purpose of the other testifiers, their companies and those that are listening, I'm also thinking about in this bill, even though it's not in the bill, of, you know, making it perhaps it's a 10-year project that we exempt it until we see exactly what the development is, how much is out there, and then we develop a proper valuation for it. You know, these are the type of things that we have to be flexible and as we proceed with emerging technologies. And at that point, Mr. Chairman and members, thank you for your time, and we will go from here.
Thank you, Senator Weber. Thank you, testifiers. With that, Senate File 3467 will be laid over. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Next, we shall proceed to Senate File 3184. Senator Klein, welcome, and you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I move Senate File 3184 to be before the committee, and I would also like to move the A1 amendment.
Okay, Senator Klein moves the A1 amendment to 3184. This is the first hearing. It will be an author's amendment. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. Amendment is adopted. You may proceed, Senator Klein.
Thank you, Chair. And so Senate File 3184 simply expands the eligibility for the currently available senior citizens property tax deferral program. It increases the income level at which people may apply to that program from 60,000 up to 95,000. And it decreases, excuse me, 96,000, and it decreases the duration that a homeowner needs to be in the house before being eligible from 15 years down to 5 years. The A1 amendment simply adjusts the 60,000 income level up to 96,000 at 3 other points in law where that 60,000 figure is referenced. The program, I think the committee is familiar, but it allows senior citizens, people over 65, to pay no more than 3% of their total household income in property taxes as a deferral. The property taxes continue to accumulate and then are due upon sale of the home or upon voluntary exiting of the deferral program. And the revenue estimate that you see accompanying this bill estimates that participation in this program would increase by about 35% under these changes. You know, I think in these times of sort of rapidly escalating property taxes, this is a good way to work to keep seniors in their homes and living in their communities. And I hope the committee will look on it favorably. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. You'll also see in your packets a letter of support from the American Association of Retired Persons.
Okay, very good. And no other testifiers, is that correct?
Correct, sir.
Okay, very good. Question, Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and Senator Klein. Good bill. Just curious, how much work, or maybe Mr. Hilgert would explain how much work is done by the, I'm assuming the assessor or the property tax person to make these calculations? Is it a lot of work that goes into it? Is there a simpler way that could this be done? I'm just curious of how the process is done.
I apologize, Mr. Chair, and Senator Jasinski. I'm not sure I fully understand the question. You mean how much work is done by the counties to assess the properties, or?
Well, to make these adjustments, to look at the valuation and all these things. Is it a difficult laborative task or not? Do we know?
Mr. Sylvia.
Mr. Chair, Senator Jasinski, the application and the calculations are actually done by the Department of Revenue. So there's no difference in terms of the valuation at the local level. It's just the deferred tax is essentially repaid by the Department of Revenue to the counties and to the taxing jurisdictions, but there would be no additional work
Okay,
that I
thank you.
foresee based on this bill.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? I would simply comment that I actually had a phone call from a St. Paul taxpayer who indicated that her real estate taxes were going up in the neighborhood of 12% this year. And she is one of the unfortunate ones that had actually downsized a few years ago and into a smaller home because of the cost of a large two-story home and what have you. And but that she was basically denied any type of the senior citizen deferral because of the fact she hadn't lived in her current house for 15 years. So I don't think that was, and she still lives within the same community. So I don't think that was the intent of the bill originally. And so, you know, I certainly sympathize with people that are in her situation. Senator Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Klein, for proposing this. Ms. Holmgren is the woman Chair Weber is referring to. She lives in the district I represent, and we have been doing some work together on a couple of different approaches to this problem. And I think that she will be very happy to see this, Senator Klein. It does solve a problem for her. You'll see in introductions another proposal coming forward from my office. Similar, but not quite like this, but also with the intention of solving a problem for senior citizens who are feeling property tax pressure. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Any other further comments? Anything final from you? Yes, Senator Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I just want to thank you again for hearing the bill. And also, I didn't have testifiers, but it turns out the committee itself had bipartisan testifiers in support of the bill. I appreciate that. I want to thank my co-authors, Senator Frentz, Senator Bigham, Senator Murphy, and Senator Zizik. In the bill that was referenced by Senator Murphy that she will be bringing forward, there's also some language around increasing awareness and communications around this program, because I think it suffers from sort of a lack of sort of visibility and people don't participate because they don't know about it. So that would be something for the committee to consider going forward as this is laid over. Thank you again for hearing the bill.
Thank you, Senator Klein. With that, Senate file 3184 as amended will be laid over for possible inclusion. That brings us to the end of our bill hearings for today. We will have some fairly lengthy hearings coming up with a number of bills that have been sent to us by the full tax committee, and some more will be sent tomorrow. And so just tell your staff to be not get used to the fact that you get done early in this committee hearing. So with that, this meeting shall stand adjourned. Thank you.